Moving on, feeling strong. We have created an intro fill. Let's hear it and see how it sounds. Great. So now in part 4, we're going to move forward. We're going to look at the drum fill section here, and we're going to create 1 or 2 drum fills that will play in conjunction with the main loop. So let's go to our sequencer. Here is the introductory fill we have created. But we can manipulate these and just move them around a bit, and we'll create some simple fills just to populate those parts of the song. So we're going to take off this count in. We can delete that because we don't need it. And here's something we need to consider. If you look at this, there's a gap there. As the beat buddy plays the main beat and then moves to the fills, it may or may not encounter this gap. So we're going to first fill that with the beat that is being played. So that's why we wanted to keep this, because we're going to have to borrow some of this beat. So let's just grab and select this part, because that's the amount of beat that we need. And we're going to hit Control-C to copy it. And then we're going to go back to our fill selection, put the playhead at the beginning of it, because that's the beat 1 of this bar. And we can just hit Control-V, and it will paste the beat and fill that space for us. So that way, when it transitions from the main beat into the fill, there won't be any gaps. It'll play the part of the beat and then play the fill. We don't need this hi-hat, so let's delete that. So let's focus on how we want our fill to go. Let's just do a slight variation on this for simplicity's sake. I'm going to take this snare flam that we created. I'm just going to move it down here, and I'm going to turn those snare hits into tom hits. And we'll do the same thing here. Okay. Let's hear how that sounds. So I'm going to hit return. That will send the playhead back to beat 1. Okay, that works. Okay, let's take this fill and move it to the Beat Buddy Manager. If you've got a bit of space here at the end of your MIDI selection, don't worry about it. The Beat Buddy will not play empty spaces that are too large, so it'll just play up until the cymbal crash. But if you want to close it down, you can. All right, let's go back to our export feature. I'll zoom in here for you. Here's our export. Remember, we're going back to selection as MIDI file, and that will open our Finder for us. Okay, let's give it a unique name. And we'll just call it Thor Fill 1. Hit return to save it. Let's open that in the right section of the song, which is right here back in our Beat Buddy Manager. So remember, we're going to click on this white square, and that will open up the Finder window. We're going to select Fill 1, because that's the MIDI file we want. We can hit return or hit open, and there it is. Let's test it to make sure that it sounds okay. Aha! We have run into a little problem. I'm glad this happened, because it allows us to understand a little more deeply about some of these problems you might encounter. The issue is it didn't play this tom. And what that tells us is that the way that this drum kit is mapped here is not the same as the parts of the drum kit we are using in the Beat Buddy Manager. So when it tries to play this, there's nothing there, or there's something different there, maybe I don't know, a cymbal or something. So what we're going to have to do is find where this floor tom is. So I'm just going to move it into something I think it might be. And then I'm going to re-export it the same way we did before. I'm just going to replace the file. Okay, so this is fill 1. Let me zoom that for you. So I'm just going to do that. It'll put the name up here, so that way when I hit return, it will tell me to replace the file with the new arrangement. Let's go back to the BeatBuddy Manager and see if the new one's going to work. So I'm going to reopen it just to make sure I've got the right one. Okay, let's save it. Let's see if this works. We have accurately located the drum sound that we want, and it seems to be in order. So that can happen sometimes when you're going from one software to another using one drum kit and another kit. They're not all mapped the same. Nonetheless, we are set to test this much of our song. Now remember, as we discussed in part 3, the BeatBuddy is going to move from the main beat and then play the first fill, and then it's going to go automatically back to the main beat. Okay, so it plays them in sequence. Let's hit the simulator and see how this works. So that's the main loop playing, and we're going to activate fill 1. And that sounds good. So you will notice that the fill at the end, where we have the cymbal crash, it plays that right up until the first beat of the bar, which plays in conjunction with the first beat of the main fill as it goes back. It's important to know that, so you know where to locate your cymbal crashes to, show up a transition if that's what you want to do. Let's add a second fill, and then we can see how the BeatBuddy is going to play that. What do we want to do here? Let's do a variation on this. I'm going to take this here, and I'll just do that. We're going to make it simple. Let's hear how this fill sounds. Okay. Small variation, but it works. So we're going to export that, create our second fill. We'll call that fill 2. Sounds like we got two friends named Phil, but back to the BeatBuddy Manager. Where did I put it? There it is. And we're going to select the white square here that it indicates where the second fill is going to go. We're going to hit fill 2, open it up. So now we have our two fills together. Let's test it, and you will see as it highlights the order in which these are played. Okay, let's play fill 1. And now it's going to play fill 2. So that worked really well. And you can see how it goes through the fills sequentially back to the loop. All right, let's leave that for today. We've come pretty far. We've created a song. We've gotten up to the point where we have two fills in the main part of our song. In future videos, we're going to look at how transitions work. So we're going to write in a transition fill and adding another part of the song. And we will add an accent here, which will probably be a cymbal crash that you can add ad lib. And then eventually we're going to finish our song and create an outro fill to end the song.